The garage doors down on the 95 Aston Martin just about 9 minutes into the race. In the first couple of laps, Alan Simonson, driving that car, had a tremendously high-speed accident at Tertre Rouge, and despite all the efforts of medical staff who were on the scene very quickly indeed, unfortunately he succumbed to his injuries. The first fatality here at Le Mans since Joe Gartner back in 1987. Doesn't make it any easier on Alan's wife and baby daughter, all the rest of his family and friends, least of all his team and teammates, but our greatest sympathies go to all of them. It is occasionally a very, very tough sport. Well, if it weren't for the corner workers, for the marshals, for the medical crews, all of whom are volunteers, this sport wouldn't continue. And if it weren't for tank tape, Jeremy, 75% of all racing cars would not have finished 75% of all the races they finished. It is the engineers. After a £5 club hammer, the engineer's best friend.
Yeah, indeed. And look at that, the front shot of that number 53 SRT Viper in the pit lane. They look like the big air horns there underneath the hood. They weren't air horns, actually. That's the air restrictors.
That'd be cool, wouldn't it?
The air restrictors through which the air flows before it gets to the engine. So if you thought they were air horns, sorry to disappoint you.
However, I think we should consider that for motorsport.
Coffee Loic, box this time. Box this time.
Fuel light on, box this time for the number 2 Audi of Loic Duval. Yeah, we should have horns on the cars that go Aruga.
Yeah,
you know,
and
some things...
forget flashing lights. Who needs that if you've got 2 air horns built in?
Well, they've got a nice air freshener there on the board as well. Yeah,
oh, jeez, oh my goodness, I've just been attacked by
Page 1 of the timing screen
screen
has just attacked Liz.
Wow.
I'm going to have to gaffer it back up, so talk amongst yourselves,
That was exciting.
See, gaffer tape, if it wasn't for...
We're tearing up booth apart.
If it wasn't for gaffer tape, 75% of our commentary booths wouldn't be held together either.
So that's just filled all of you with confidence that you've just seen the number 53 Viper gaffer tape to bits, and our bit of gaffer tape on only a TV screen has just failed. That's encouraging, isn't it?
So only 10 laps then this stint for Loic Duval. That's
yeah, 10 laps is not much at all, and they must be pitted. I think they're pitting normally, so
they've been doing 11 laps generally on this.
But was that when it was a bit more damp?
No,
because now we're fully dry. They may not quite make it. It's a long lap around Le Mans.
Yep. Conceivably, they're certainly going a little bit quicker now, and that's apparently the difference. He was able to radio into the team that the fuel light came on, and so immediately instructed to bring that car onto pit lane for regular service.
And actually, the team probably even knew that he needed to pit. There's so much technology now in pit lane that I'm sure they were able to say, look, we're not going to make it for a full lap. You're going to have to pit in now. So that's certainly going to make things more exciting as this race goes on. We're going to go to a quick commercial break. Stay with us here at the Le Mans 24 Hours on Eurosport.
Unless I'm very much mistaken, I am very much mistaken. That is the Krohn Racing Ferrari off in the gravel of Tracy Krohn, Nick Johnson. And
well,
do you know what? I don't think I've even seen the third driver. That is the car that was...
Mediani.
Oh, yes, Maurizio Mediani. Oh, and another car facing the wrong way somewhere else. Oh, no.
And then we also had another car straight on as well before that.
Audi has gone straight on, and probably in avoidance.
That's Paul Dall'Anna. He's just recently taken over that car from Bill Orbelin.
It was just a bit too late on the brakes, it looked like to me. And what the viewers can't see is that that's a really tricky braking area, because you come up very, very fast. It's flat out up to that point for a lot of cars.
Yeah.
And there's a little bit of a crest on the hill. And as you come where you want to brake, normally is just about where that crest is. So you've just got this bit of lightness to the car. It's very easy to lock up there. A bit of a surface change as well. I suppose I should admit that I myself have locked up there a few times as well. So
I'd cover over that. Don't worry. Nobody knows.
People haven't, I think.
Well, I think most people have actually locked up there. But yeah, very, very tricky indeed. And we've had somebody on Twitter asking, it was Sharnley97 asking how the Straka versus Rebellion battle is going. Well, I'm pretty impressed that Straka's clawed their way back from having to start very low down the grid, and they are in fact in front of, well, we're in front. They just pitted. They've only just pitted
Johnny
for
Kane,
something normal, I think.
Johnny Kane has...
But they were in front of both the Rebellions with Johnny Kane at the wheel.
So it will exit very close to you.
Okay, so Toyota being told about the... just a very quick look at this little battle. Olivier Beretta just got by 73 Corvette, and that is for 5th in class. Yes, thank you very much indeed. So, change there. Jordan Taylor, one of Wayne Taylor's two sons. Ricky Taylor here as well. He of the bigger mullet. Because apparently that's a thing now. And looking at the front...
Have you seen the videos they put up on YouTube?
Yes, they are absolutely mentalist, as you might imagine if you've ever known Wayne Taylor. Think of the man hours that are spent honing the aerodynamics of the front of a Ferrari 458 Italia. Look at the shocking shambles that is the nose of Olivier Beretta's car, and see how it hasn't made the slightest iota of difference to his performance. Why bother with wind tunnels at all?
Just carry on.
Yeah, draw it groovy, and if it doesn't stall the radiators, we're good to go.
Keep kicking anyway.
Well, Tracy Krohn now out of the gravel trap there at Indianapolis, which is where he had gone in a lap ago. So, has he rejoined, or is he behind? He's being shown as red, which shows he's behind the barriers. Red background to their numbers shows as stopped. But...
they might be pulling him out, though. It looks like he just went off.
Yes, they pulled him out because he was in a dangerous position, and again, he might be having to get the Hoover out to Hoover out his own ground. Of course, he owns the car and the team, so possibly not. He may have a Hooverer. Meanwhile, 51, this is the lead car. This is two-thirds of last year's winning team for AF Corsa in the GTE Pro class. Coming back out of the garage. Notice down the driver's right of the windscreen, a long strip of LED lights, different colour for each of their cars. Get it up, get it up, get it down, get it down. And out goes the 51 car. Made a lot more noise than movement there just for a moment, so that'll smell nicely of clutch any moment now.
Yes, a lengthy stop there. And they are now down in
Nowheresville at all.
Place, I think it is in GT, and that would be a couple of laps behind the leading Aston Martins of Fred Makovecki in car number 99, and then number 97 of Stefan Muka.
And do we know why that car dropped down the order? No.
Unfortunately.
I tell you something, though, it's now got Giancarlo Fisichella in it, and Jonathan Bomarito in the Viper is the next car behind him on the road, so I want to see that battle shape up. I want to see Bomarito, first-time boy, against the Formula 1 Honda in a Ferrari, last year's winner. Yeah, I want to see that battle.
I'm pretty sure who's going to win. No downfall on Bomarito, but I would definitely put my money on Fisichella.
Ollie Jarvis back in. Now, remember we heard Toyota, Calvin Fish there, calling it for speed in the background, steps well out of the way, and wisely so. Remember how we heard Toyota telling their driver he would be exiting the pits right in front? Ooh! Is that Toyota going through there? No. That's him coming down to the end of the S's and into the Ford chicane.
Right in front of us here at the Ford chicane.
Now, he's hot, he's on lower fuel, and he's on hot tyres.
And
so
I think
how far behind? 10, 11, 12, 13, quite a long way behind. He's going to have to go some to catch him.
Yeah, and he's due a pit stop a little while yet before Sebastian Buemi brings the number 8 car back onto pit lane. But Oliver Jarvis, interestingly, there was able to do 11 laps on his stint of fuel, whereas the numbers 1 and 2 Audis only did 10 laps on that last stint. And Ollie was turning some pretty good laps, wasn't he, Ollie Jarvis?
Buemi's last lap as well, 3:29.2. He's got the afterburners lit, hasn't he? He knows he's got a chase.
Well, yeah. Toyota in general know they've got a chase because they've made one less pit stop than everybody else, and they're still behind the Audis as well.
And I think they'll be making it clear to them from the team. They'll be saying what they've got to do at the time. You know, I think when they have a safe position, they'll tell them to just make sure they're safe but still fast, and when they've got to push, they can push.
Look at the dive plane shimmy and the mirrors shimmy on the Toyota as it touches down. That's the onboard view as the husband of authoress Julia Wurtz puts his car across the gravel trap.
Well, I'm going to have to leave soon and go back to the pits, but before I do, I'm going to give a big up to Michael Crum, because I've been sitting here watching him do fastest lap time after fastest lap time after fastest lap time, and he's just put in another fast sector time, and he's moved up a place since he's been going in the number 42 car. He's now in 17th place in 17th place overall, but pushing up the order of LMP2, and I just think that's quite impressive. I thought he deserved a mention for that.
Well done. He's been charging along very nicely indeed, as he did has the top 2 in that class, because they both turned 2 excellent laps there. 3:43.1 for David Heinemeier Hansen. Boy, that's impressive.
Big laps.
I mean, he's only started proper racing last year, really, in the American Le Mans Series in the P2 category. Did a couple of years of sort of club racing in Porsche Caymans before that. Did a lot of miles in a radical sports car over in Europe. David Heinemeier Hansen is originally from Denmark, lives now, is based now in Chicago. He's the developer of the 37 Signals internet technology firm. Very bright guy, super character, tremendous enthusiast for the sport, and boy, a heck of a driver as well. 1:43.1 for David Heinemeier Hansen, and Rusinov too, in second place, turning almost identical lap times.
Off a so-so single-seater career.
39.
Yeah, we have. That's the
number 39
DKR one, isn't it?
That's had a few trips off already, am I right? That's the car with a lot of rookies involved too, or maybe just finding Le Mans a little bit more challenging than they thought.
More hits than Elvis, that one, I'm afraid.
And that looks like, was that Arnage corner?
Yeah,
that does bite. Arnage does, and I think sometimes it's so easy. You heard Alan McNish saying he hates that corner. It's his least favorite. I think that's for most of us, really, because you come in so hot after Indianapolis, and it's a very, very slippery surface. It's so easy to overshoot it and get a little bit too cocky and lock it up.
I think that's Roman Brundle's third off in this stint, so he's really.
Who did you just say? Roman Brundle.
Brundle.
Oh,
stop it with the Brundle nonsense. No.
I was thinking, who is he creating now?
Well, at least I can tell Jeremy Shaw doesn't sound like Jeremy Clarkson.
That's true. We'll give you that. Right, I'm going to go back down to the pits.
All right, then.
See you boys in a while. Try and behave yourselves.
Be careful out there.
Thanks, Liz.
I will.
Yeah, Roman Bradley, he's one of the few drivers I can find nothing about, actually. I think he did some Ferrari challenge racing, perhaps, but certainly not a name that's particularly well known.
Certainly challenged by the LMP car that he's driving at the moment. But, I mean, again, you know, especially for 41 rookies, incidentally, in the field of 65 cars is an enormous number. I don't know.
It's about average, to be honest. So I think we had 42 last year and 40 the year before.
Well, in which case, what are we doing with them all?
Well,
where do they all go to?
It's on the bucket. Le Mans 24 Hours is on the people's bucket list. This is what they want to do. It's mainly the gentlemen that come and go.
I was talking to Tommy Kendall about it. He said he did a race about 5-6 years ago, and it was a sort of undercover, you know, go out and find out what it's like thing when SRT were looking at coming back to racing. And his previous one was in the 90s. So he said, this is my first time, again, third first time race, effectively. He said, everything I knew the previous 2 times, it just doesn't count. I don't know it anymore. So he's having another first time race. But yeah, Roman Brundle having a torrid time. One of 2 rookies in that car. Stéphane Raffin is the other one in that 39 car.
Yeah, and Olivier Porter, the third driver, but he's made a couple of starts here, but 10 years ago, 2003 and 2004 in WMs. So He's
so not actually real racing cars at all then. Listen, the 50, yeah, I know, harsh. There's another part of the country I can't go to. The 51 car that we just saw coming out after a long pit stop, that, well, what was hoped to be lead AF Corsa Ferrari 458 Italia, just been wanting to sort out its headlights. You must have lights on front and rear at every moment in this race, not just during official darkness hours, at all times, as you can see clearly. And it's because these unguided, well, these guided missiles, like the prototypes here, coming up behind everybody else, it's to just alert the driver to the fact that there is something coming whistling up behind. Well, a man who was on pole position in the LMP2 class is down in the pits. Let's hear from Olivier Pla.
With some dry track, rainy track, how tricky are the conditions out there? Could you tell us the feedback from the guys?
Well, when I was in the car earlier in the afternoon, it was a really tricky condition. There was a few showers in a different place of the track, so it was really hard to manage, and well, especially to keep in the track. But yeah, I decided to keep the slick tires, and I think finally it was a good choice because I could pull away a little bit. But we are still a long way to go, so everything is still possible.
Yeah, but you have a very good position, and I think the guys are preparing for a pit stop. They will change the tires.
Well, no, David is just he's on his first stint, so he's gonna be only a refueling.
Okay, and what about your opposition?
Well, I think at the moment it's very close fight, so a lot of cars are very close, and so we have to keep going like that, and we will see later.
Thank you.
Oh dear, problems getting the G-Drive car going again. There we go, that's the number 25. Not the one of Roman Rusinov, which is in second place, but the car that is in, umpteenth in the LMP2 class. Yes, now, here is our orange moment, the 60-year-old orange that was in the winning car in Le Mans in 1953 with Duncan Hamilton in the C-Type Jaguar Kyriakos car. Jaguar's first win at Le Mans, scored by Kyriakos and Duncan Hamilton in 1953. And an orange that was in the car with him, which went in every other race he ever raced in, has been handed on down to his grandson. Adrian Hamilton handed it on, who was Duncan's son, to Archie Hamilton, who is making his first appearance here at Le Mans. So there's a 60-year-old link between the winning car and the winning driver, not just in name, Jeremy, but in a petrified little black-orange in the driver's pocket.
Yeah, it's a great story, that, isn't it? And Archie Hamilton just taken over that number 25 car, lost a couple of laps very early in the race. During the initial safety car period, they had a gear shift problem on that car. They were able to get that fixed. The good news for them, it was under caution, so they only lost 2 laps, which is pretty remarkable. Yeah. And that car since then has been charging along. Archie Hamilton sharing that number 25 car with Tor Graves, who had a crash this morning in the warm-up, and Shinji Nakano.
Yeah, it was Tor who parked it backwards in the barriers, and that seems to have had a little bit of a knock-on legacy, but hopefully Alan Docking has given it a very stiff talking to, and it is a little bit tremulous of coming back into the garage for too long. So our race still being led by Audi's Benoit Trellier in the number 1 car, Audi number 2, Loic Duval second, Audi number 3, Ollie Jarvis lies in third. Welcome back to the Le Mans 24 Hours live on Eurosport. Wherever you're watching around the world, welcome to our coverage of the 90th anniversary race here at Le Mans, the 81st race, and another spin for the DKR engineering car. That is now the 4th for Romain Brundle in this stint. I really think he ought to go and get either the brakes or the tyres looked at, Jeremy Shaw, because something's not going right with him there.
Maybe that's another stat I need to start checking out.
Yeah.
I think he's got a rival actually in Rodin Unessi, I'm afraid.
Looking here at the battle between Frankie Cheng and Johnny Kane, and this position has swapped and changed left and right. Look at the front of both of these cars. In fact, most of these cars, as they come towards you, you'll see some of the prototypes with bright lights around the air intakes or other parts of the car. You'll see lights in the windscreen strips of some of the closed cars, and a lot of people have said, you know, what's that all about? Well, for multi-car teams, it's often used to identify which of your cars is coming either past the pits at night or down pit road at night. And for single teams like Stracker's there, they use a different shape of light pattern to anyone else's open car to try and make sure that they can instantly identify their own car either on a TV monitor picture or as it comes towards them. The idea is just for identification in murky or dark conditions. So that's what those are all about, and it's a legacy from many years ago when cars were much harder to identify even than they are now. A little dive by under braking from Johnny Kane. Good move there from the Ulsterman, and we've been joined by another man from the Emerald Isle. Damien Faulkner has meandered into the booth. You never know, we might even press him to use a microphone in a moment or two. Toyota still chasing Audi after 5 hours now. We're into the 5th hour of the race. Excellent. 5 hours down, only 19 still to go in 6 minutes. For those of you, and again, another replay. They like this replay, the number 7 car. See how much height he can get. Now, what they need is a rallying style thing to go and measure how much height there is. Look at the flex in the rear body. That's not suspension movement, that is rear body flex.
It's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah.
Fantastic pictures.
And again, look at the illuminated lights on the side of this car. Blue means we're looking at a car in the LMP2 class. 1 light means you're the leader, 2 lights means you're second, 3 lights means you're third. And that's something that was developed by Don Panos and the guys in the American Le Mans series. So at a glance, instantly, you can see if a car going by is in the top 3 of its class. And I still think it's just a really great little addition. And, you know, somebody came up with this bright idea and everybody slapped their foot and went, oh, how have we never thought of that before?
Yeah, it is a great system, and it's unfortunately slipped away actually in the ALMS the last couple of years. But I was told recently that it will be back fairly soon, and that'll be a great addition, I think, for once again for the American Le Mans Series groundbreakers there. But it'll be good to see that system back in use. Let me look at the note here. There's a release came out just now from Aston Martin to say they will continue in the 24 hours of Le Mans. You know, when there's an awful incident such as we had earlier today with the loss of life of Alan Simonson, you know, some people always say, well, you know, why are you carrying on in a race? How can you carry on in those sort of conditions? But I think this might explain it for you. It's, you know, if you're not involved in motor racing all the time, then it might be difficult. But for those who are involved in motor racing, they will understand. Here's what the statement read. Following the ACO's, that's the Automobile Club de l'Ouest, the organising body here at the 24 Hours of Le Mans, after their media statement concerning the tragic death of Aston Martin racing driver Alan Simonson, and at the specific request of his family, the team will continue to participate in the 24 Hours of Le Mans in tribute to Alan.
And I understand as well, there are very mixed emotions on this, and some people say, well, the team must pull out surely because, you know, just as a mark of respect, and there's other people as well, you know, certainly fans on Twitter who are saying, come on Aston, go and win this for Alan. And Damien, you raced with him, you raced against him in Formula Palmer Audi, you know, when you were both in junior single-seaters, and he was an enormously gifted driver in anything he turned his hand to, and yeah, for the people that know him, it's a really tough decision to make.
Yeah, you just have to look at the all the comments on Twitter to know the following, to realise the following that he had. Alan was a very gifted driver, and someone that I raced against, I think probably in the year 2000. Yeah, I think in Formula Palmer Audi, but and again more recently at Daytona. And I've just been speaking to some of his colleagues up there, and you know, they're distraught and it's difficult to carry on, and you know, there's you know, a lot of sadness and a lot of emotions are running high, you know. But you know, it's you know what. It would be a fitting tribute, wouldn't it, for them to win this class this weekend?
Yeah, exactly. And nobody's going to be jubilant on the podium if they manage to get there, but they will feel that they at least have honoured a colleague and friend.
The track is not very dry, not very wet. It's always a mix. How things are going on for you?
I mean, yeah, it's complicated, but I think now the weather is more or less supposed to stay dry. We had a really good start to the race. Unfortunately, we had a small contact. But it didn't cost us too much time, about 2 minutes. So now we're back on track. We're leading our category, so it's okay. It could have been better, but we're still leading.
The battle between Toyotas and Audis is very, very strong. What is your expectation just behind?
Well, I mean, our goal is to win the category of LMP1 privateer. So that's our main goal. And then we have to wait on the others and see what they do. Maybe in the scratch finish, we can finish on the podium. But the others have to make mistakes for us to do that. We know we can't fight them on the track.
For you, what is the plans now?
For me, I think Neil will do another 2 stints, and then I will get in and start the night, and we'll try to take do quadruple stints on the tires.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So news there from Nico Prost, and of course when he says leading our class, what he actually means is we're leading the privateer cars in the LMP1 category, which is basically them and the Straka HPD, because the other cars, the other 5 cars, are all factory prototypes. So looking here at Marino Franchitti's car, what looks like a major fire, in fact, is just unburnt fuel in the exhaust. Radio Le Mans' Nick Damon there, chancing life and limb, but that's the kind of guy he is, standing well back and chatting about it on as a pit reporter.
I actually accused him of being you earlier on this afternoon, so...
Oh, deep joy.
Yes.
He'll love that.
We were on the pit lane together and I accused him of being you.
It's bad enough he has to sleep with me and then you accuse him of being me. Changing the LMP2 class, by the way, Martin Plowie is now at the top, at Plowie. You can follow him on Twitter like everybody else. Ahead of David Heinemeier Hansen.
And the interesting thing there,
just stopped.
The interesting thing there is that Martin Plowman and David Heinemeier Hansen last year shared a car, actually at Morgan Nissan, just like this, for Conquest Endurance in the United States. Now, again, still driving for the same team for Oak Racing, but in different cars this year.
Charles Morgan, at Charles Morgan, will be delighted, obviously, and to answer questions that are bound to come in. We were asked earlier in the week, what part of a Morgan is the Oak Racing Morgan Nissan? And I said the name.
Yeah, the badge.
And in fact, the badge, I'm not even sure it has got the winged badge on the front, but it's, yeah. And we did, you know, Mark Cole suggested oak, ash-framed Morgans, you know, somewhere in there, woodiness. Yeah, not really. After, where are we now? 5 hours in, Audi 1, 2, 3. The battle with Toyota rages on. They're all still on the lead lap. The battle in the privateer class. The number 12 Lola Rebellion Coupe ahead of the HPD of Johnny Kane, and the number 13 Lola Rebellion Coupe behind. LMP2 leaders just changed with pit stops in the last couple of minutes. 26, and in fact, no, the 2 Oak Racing Morgans, 35 and 24 are now ahead, but 26 was the leader at the 5-hour mark. And a large LMP2 field, of which we have lost very little at all so far. A couple have had delays. We have lost 2 cars. But the GTE Pro leader is the 99 Aston Martin that started from pole position. Fred Makovici ahead of the 97 car, driven by Stefan Mucker, and Porsche in 3rd place with Romain Dumas, and 4th place with Patrick Pilet. So it is Aston versus Porsche. Ferrari have flagged down to 5th place, their best placed car, the damaged car of Olivier Beretta, their expected front runner of Giancarlo Fisichella, and Archie Hamilton, both as being shown as stopped out on track somewhere. Archie Hamilton in position 31 in the 25 car. Not sure what's up with that. Olivier Beretta also shown as being stopped.
No, there's a whole bunch of cars.
Yeah, loads of them are. All right, no. I think this has got to be a glitch. 54 is in the gravel trap, though, and you don't know where he is.
No, he's way back. Howard Blank shown at the wheel right now. He's the oldest driver in the race.
And in fact, that is the last running car, the number 54 car,
yeah, well,
because
it's not running at the moment, apparently.
The 31 car's being towed behind a garage. The 95 car has been retired, or was retired. And into the pit lane comes the number 8 Toyota. So that is a stop that Sebastian Buemi has owed us for a couple of laps. There's the number 12 Rebellion car of Neil Yarni, one of very few cars now actually shown as on track. So the timing screen is going absolutely haywire at the moment. Neil Yarni lying in 6th position, and really that's about as much as those privateer teams can expect unless there are dramatic problems for the factory cars.
Yeah, we've had brief offs, haven't we, for both the number 12 and the number 13. And that has enabled the 21 car, the Stracker Racing HPD, Johnny Kane at the wheel of that car now, to move into 7th place, splitting the 2 Rebellion Toyotas. And Johnny Kane actually, he's only about 34 seconds behind Neil Yarni, and he's about 14 seconds ahead of Frankie Cheng at the wheel of car number 13.
Well, there you can see the number 7 Toyota, Alexander Wurz, going to take the place back, and has, as the number 8 stops. Tracy Crone's Ferrari back out of the gravel traps and continues to run round. I shall swap Murray Walker's teeth during this break. Welcome back to Le Mans. We're on board Audi number 3. Ollie Jarvis in 3rd place, behind teammates Loic Duval in 2nd, the man who set pole for the number 2 car, and Benoit Trellier, whose teammate Andre Lotterer took the lead on lap 1 of the race. And the defending double winners of this race, the number 1 Audi team, have yet to rescind that lead. They lead by 42 seconds from the number 2 Audi and by 1.5 minutes from the number 3 car of Ollie Jarvis. I'm Martin Haven. Sitting alongside me are Mark Cole and Damien Faulkner. Mark rejoins us from the bitter cold outdoors. What's it like outside? It's stopped drizzling now for a short period at least.
Yeah, it's a pleasant evening, but it's not a pleasant June evening. I mean, it's quite mild, but you can smell rains in the air. It's still about. It is dry, though. As you can see from the track, it's dry in the paddock. It's pretty wet in the bars, and the bars are absolutely full. Huge crowds here. I mean, people are a bit concerned the weather during the week would put people off, but no, and, you know, they're looking at over 250,000 again this weekend, and that's Le Mans. It's a huge pool.
That's fantastic, isn't it? Well, I just saw an overhead shot. I didn't know there was a stadium inside of Terre Rouge.
Yeah. Absolutely. Crazy. That's the MMA arena.
It's like a Wembley over there.
Yeah, absolutely. Arena, the Mutuelle Monsuel, which is the local insurance company. So that's their big sports arena in there. On board, yeah, I know everything. Oh, I'm a daddy. Yeah. This will come to you when you're a dad. You're allowed to know everything. Also, you must embarrass your children at every possible opportunity. That's the law. On the pit road is Sebastian Buemi. We just saw the positions change with pit stops. He got ahead of Alexander Wurz as Wurz stopped. Beg your pardon. Buemi, as Wurz got ahead of Buemi. And somebody has shed a lot of carnage. That is 36. So
that's
do we see him
the Alpine. That's the Alpine.
Yeah, that is the Alpine. That's blown a rear tyre and blown out as it hasn't blown any bodywork.
Well, he's taken his rear panels off, isn't it, I think?
No, it hasn't. No, he's looking round going, where is it?
Where did that come from?
It's a left rear puncture. Yeah. Now, you see, over the wheels on all the prototypes, there is no longer solid bodywork. There's a big hole to allow air to escape from the wheel arches when the car gets sideways, and they've got fences around the inside of that to sort of channel air around the rear wing. He's pulled off on the side of the track. Do you know what, Sunbeam? You've got about another 5.5 miles to go. You're going to have to go very, very slowly, but you're going to have to do it. Safety car is out, and that will make his life very much easier, because Mark, he had only just got out of Tertre Rouge onto the Mulsanne.
Yeah, I think you will find that rear panel's gone, and it's the debris from that, all the carbon fibre shards are spread around where we're just about to go through now, through Tertre Rouge. Safety car out for the second time in this race. 7 red flags, just to remind you, in qualifying and practice and in the warm-up this morning, and here we are again, second safety car of this race. How disjointed is that?
Well, it happens. These things happen, and hopefully we just hope that nobody goes through too much debris and picks up punctures themselves. Onto pit road comes the number 2 car. Again, very heads-up engineering from H. Howden Haynes to get this number 2 car onto pit road. Loic Duval shares with Alain McNish and Tom Christensen. Loic Duval with 10 Le Mans wins between his 2 teammates. They would love to add another one to make it a 3 for Nishi and 9 for Tom Christensen, Mr. Le Mans, and of course a first 1 for Loic Duval. So if he gets a chance to be part of that winning crew, I'm sure he'd like to. Well, there is the Modesty panel. Behind the rear wheels, there are enclosure panels for aerodynamic purposes, which must be in place. And as Mark correctly said, the flailing rear tyre has spat bits of debris all over the road. So the marshals will have to get out and recover that, but not before the entire field is behind the 2 safety cars and going slowly enough to allow them to do it.
Get you home mode, Damon, very important
it is,
at the moment.
But I mean, now that these yellows, I think he should probably stay out from that grass, or stay out a little bit, because he's going to pick up another puncture, if not
well, the problem is,
on the way in.
Problem is, of course, the cars run very low anyway, and without air in any tyre, even lower.
Of course.
And actually, what he doesn't want to do is have his wheels dangling over a hole in the grass and the flat bottom of the car beached on the edge of the track. Safety car is out, so the pit lane exit is shut until the next safety car queue goes by, so you can lose a lot of time by trying to being a bit too smart and getting in, or by coming in anyway, needing to come in for fuel, because they don't come in for the heck of it. He must have needed to come in, and unfortunately he's been caught out by the safety car. So number 2 car that was on pole is now going to drop down the order, maybe to 3rd, 4th, who knows.
That's Cooper McNeil, actually, in the WeatherTech car, an old rival of mine from American Le Mans Series. I raced with him together at Daytona recently.
See, now, no disrespect, obviously, but there is a driver a proper size.
He's a
sensible size. I interviewed him yesterday at dinner. Looked him straight in the eye without having to bend my neck down. So that's a proper height.
The only one. Yeah, he's huge and a good driver, I have to say.
Absolutely.
He's doing very well. So and his father is a personal sponsor of mine with WeatherTech.
So excited to be here. You can't believe how. Of course, you can believe how excited he was to be here. But yeah, and we talked about this before. One of the great things about rookie drivers is just seeing the idiot grin, the glee on their faces. This is just,
He rang me about 10 days ago and he said, "Are you a Le Mans?" And no, it's a bit early. He's been here for a while.
Unfortunately, we don't get to spend the entire month here, much as the teams do. Now, looking here at the overall standings, already the LMP2 leader is up to 6th place overall. Oh, that's the Michelin Green X Challenge. That's not the overall standing. I was going to say David Hannemeyer Hansen leads in the number 24 Oak Racing Morgan. Roman Rusinov 2nd in the Orica Nissan in the P2 class, and Martin Plowman in 3rd place. Still have not caught up with Martin Plowman. Been conversing with him about Le Mans for many weeks on Twitter, and has still not said hello to Plowy, so that's something I absolutely have to do.
Martin, if I could just mention, there's some lovely messages coming in on Twitter. There's a question here. Why is there no Mercedes-Benz or BMW USA or Audi S?
Audis.
In the GTE class.
Okay, rule 1 about answering questions on Twitter is to say thank you to Andy Collins-Reed for your question. Okay, let's touch on why there are... Yeah, there you go. See, he's a bit of a rookie, boys and girls. So, Why are there certain cars that we don't see? Well, the reason is that the Le Mans rules for GT racing are different from GT3, which is as widely accepted a rules package. GT3, for instance, controls, as we see lots of cars coming onto pit road now, controls or rules are used in things like the Blancpain Endurance Series, which was at Silverstone a couple of weeks ago with a 60-car field. The cars are predominantly the same. A GT3 Aston looks just the same to the naked eye as that GTE Aston. But there are subtle differences in whether or not you can, things like whether or not you can use ABS or carbon brakes, or what tyres you can use, what suspension, you know, various different air restrictors and various other things. In fact, we were talking earlier on in the race, and it's worth going over the ground again. Spoke to Andrew Cocotti from McLaren earlier on and saying, OK, somebody asked me, why are there no McLarens? Andrew, why are there no McLarens? And the answer is they've built a GT3 car because the rules were stable. They have not built a GTE car, but they have designed one. And I imagine that for Audi's R8 LMS, this is possibly the same. For Mercedes, possibly the same. But you can build it, and Andrew Cocotti's got 10 customers wanting to buy one and run one and write checks to McLaren for them. But you can only run it here or in other ACO events, and predominantly that means American Le Mans Series, which is becoming United Sports Car Racing next year, which will be a convergence of American Le Mans ACO rules and something different that is running Grand Am. And until that convergence package in GT is sorted and we see where GTE goes at Le Mans as a result, because there will be some changing of the Le Mans rules, McLaren are not going to press the build button on a GT3 spec car. And I imagine again, because GT3 Mercedes and Audi LMS, R8 LMSs exist, but not in GTE form, they too are waiting until there is a stable rules package. And Scott Elkins and Scott Atherton are both here this weekend. They're from Grand Am and ALMS with the ACO. They'll meet on Tuesday and Wednesday to try and thrash this out so they can hopefully publish some rules before next season gets underway. And that's the long answer of why we haven't got all of the GT cars that we would like to see.
And let me just bring you right up to date. John Wickham is here from Bentley.
Yes.
I met him in the paddock this morning, and they will announce the Bentley GT3 car program in 3 weeks' time. And Damien's just longing to get his hands on that.
So you have to release the brakes pretty early just to create some of this gear in entry. But after mid-exit is a bit too much on this gear.
So he's telling him the brakes will be cool, isn't he? And just warn him, make sure you brake early when you get going again.
Wow.
He said he was talking about the handling of the car there, and he said there was a bit of oversteer on entry, and so he's having to release the brakes so the front will come up again and cause a little bit of understeer, I presume.
That is almost like Formula One, where you get the engineers going, Jensen, you might want to try going a little bit quicker now. or really, that, you know, how did that not occur to me?
Or Lewis Hamilton, I can't drive any slower. Now, would you believe, I was talking to Jan Mardenborough on the grid today, and his engineer butted in and said he's fastest in this car because he tells us he can't drive any slower. I thought, that's a real Lewis Hamilton moment.
More from Le Mans in just a moment. Welcome back to safety car conditions for the second time here at Le Mans, and drama in, well, the Alpine garage, and not alone. We've got a Corvette in as well. Now, is this Danny Binks' boys? It is. It's the 73 car. This is one of the two Pratt Miller built factory Chevrolet Corvettes, and this is a rear end problem. Now, in the very early days of Corvette versus Viper, they had rear end problems. You can see the Caterham ready to go out, and somebody slewed up behind. That's the 33 car that was in the gravel traps earlier on.
That's the Murphy
yeah, that's the Murphy's
there.
prototype. Yeah, they got too much green on the back. Yikes. Oh. Didn't see that happening. Was that under yellow flags, or there's just a replay of various incidents and accidents from earlier in the race? It's just replays of various different stuff from earlier on. Safety car will come in this lap. So just a quick thing. Now, we've talked a little bit about tyres and slicks and intermediates and so on. So, a question from Maria Ray a while ago, and then maybe got a chance to answer this. How come Formula 1 tyres don't use Le Mans, Formula 1 teams don't use Le Mans tyres, then they could go flat out with no pit stops? Well, Pirelli were asked to make tyres that did wear out and meant that fast cars went slowly, and they'd have to do a bit of thinking and hopefully produce overtaking. The great thing about Le Mans is we've got such long straights, such mixed conditions and such long races that overtaking happens anyway.
But isn't it great that
yeah.
in this race and endurance racing these days, even with the duration of the race being 24 hours, it's still a sprint race. It's regarded as a sprint race, and that's thanks to the reliability of the cars these days.
Look at all the stuff that's been happening because the sprinkles of rain and all that kind of stuff, and that's what happens when you race for a whole day and a whole night. It's the weather changes and things happen, and it's not an hour and a half whizzing around in a tiny little area. It's 24 hours whizzing around in a very much larger area, and so stuff happens. And Mark, with 56 cars, stuff happens to you that you're not expecting.
Yeah, and you pick up the wrong cars in the safety car train. That number one Audi way behind the GT cars. No wave pit by here, like they have in Formula 1 or indeed in American racing. And then, Damien, you've got this problem in the pit lane where you have to wait for whichever one of the three safety cars trains happens to be coming by, and you lose a bundle of time.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously they can predict that, knowing where the safety car is, because that light is always red, right? Until such time as they decide to release it. But under safety car conditions, it's always red. But yeah, so it's. Do they have to switch the cars off?
Switch the lights off on the safety car? Yeah, the lights will go off at the end of the timing sector.
When they're sitting there at the end of pit road, or will they have an idea of?
Well, you can. I wouldn't want to guarantee that the battery will restart it. You have to restart from the pit lane under your own. No. You sit there ready to race. Safety car lights will go out now, please.
And here we
get
are,
ready to restart.
There is the number one car in the middle of the train. Now, why do they not pick up the race leader, Martin?
Well, they did, but he went into the pits. Come on, give him a break. You know I love a safety car rant, but he went into the pits behind the safety car. They did pick him up.
You were looking at my notes.
No, I was looking at my telly.
Then how did he come out in the middle of the train? Why didn't he have to wait till the train had gone by?
He wasn't the first car in the pits. He came in.
He was in the middle of the train.
He came in as the safety car queue came down, and the pit exit was already shut, so there was a queue of cars in front of him.
I was just testing you both.
Good. Look, we've had a whole safety car period. I haven't ranted yet. Don't tease one out of me. I know I'm like a clock, very easy to wind up, but don't make it easier, please. So, second safety car will peel in. Oh, yeah, of course, he doesn't peel in here, does he? He peels in somewhere else at the beginning. No, he started to cross the grass. What kind of a safety car release is that? He nearly had the blooming Corvette off. I guarantee he was not looking in his mirrors to make sure there was nobody beside him.
Damien, we got the rant.
You got the rant.
We did.
Oh,
As we
they
just
had
see
me. The safety car had almost gone, and it just beat me.
Yeah, that was bizarre. It could have just... did he get a last-minute call or something? Or?
No, his lights were off, so he knew he was coming in. Anyway,
maybe he didn't know where he was coming in.
Number 1 car is shown on our boards. Benoit Trellier, the man from Alençon, leading the race from Ollie Jarvis and Gouat Duval. Sebastian Buemi 4th and Alexander 5th in the 2 Toyotas. The next Toyota is Matthew Betch in the number 13 Rebellion, and Johnny Kane in the Stracker finally has managed to get himself into the top 7 because he's ahead of one of the Rebellions at the moment, and they're on the same pit stop strategy as the Oak Racing car. This is the 24 car. This is Heinemeyer. This is the lead car, and he's spun it on his outlap after the safety car.
Oh dear. Well, we talked about this, how much tyre temperatures drop off on the straights here anyway. Never mind behind the safety car when you're doing 130 kilometers an hour, not 330 kilometers an hour.
That was in the Porsche curves as well. That's amazing he's got away with that. So
yeah.
Just must have pirouetted around.
Yeah, but that's David Heinemeyer Hansen, and he's, of course, he's...
Oh,
my goodness.
Which Audi was that? Oh, God, he touched the tyres as well.
And he's the bronze driver, unfortunately. The Olivier Pla and Alex Brundle, his 2
do you know what?
Teammates.
He was setting some epic lap times earlier on. Massive piece of debris in the middle of the road. Yellow flags are out at Marshall's Post 55, which is on the run between the 2 chicanes. In fact, that's right about... It's just past the restaurant, isn't it?
Well, who's that off?
I don't know. That is an entire rear bodywork, isn't it? Zoom in.
It's Lotus,
Zoom in. Yeah, I'd say it is. Well, that narrows it down to the 32 car, since the 31 doesn't exist anymore.
Bodywork from the Lotus.
Oh, and the 54 KCMG car has gone round as well.
This is cold tires, Damien, isn't it? After the safety car period.
Thank you very much indeed for not having a red Ferrari. We love you.
Yeah, I think so. And as well, with the temperatures gone down, you can see it's already starting to get a little bit darker. So the track temperature will have gone down. So
but tyre temp sinks like a stone. And look where he's going. Look what's out there as well. Loads of gravel.
Loads of gravel.
That is a Lotus. It's a bit of a Lotus, of course, which is, as anyone from the 60s knows, is an acronym for... Lots of trouble, usually serious.
And thank you for the John Hindhaugh impression there. You've now got the whole of Sunderland against us, having upset Liverpool the other night. So carry on, Martin. So that debris, as we can see, is down at Marshall's Post 55, which is between the 2 chicanes. Be a brave Marshall who gets out the 30 car now off as well. We're all doing it. That's the status Lola of
HVM
Tony Burgess. Yeah. The HVM, I mean. Yep, HVM. HVM status,
officially a Canadian car this weekend, although David Kennedy is largely the team owner.
Yeah, sponsored by Visit Florida. So, yeah, Irish owner. And, of course, Keith Wiggins is the HVM part of HVM Status Grand Prix. David Kennedy and Teddy Yip were Status Grand Prix. They won A1 with Team Ireland and Adam Carroll. Now, there's another driver that should be on this grid, along with you, Damo. We need to get Adam Carroll into proper sports cars.
Look at that. He almost visits the Viper factory, doing that as well as visiting Florida.
Who was in the 93? Tommy Kendall. There's some ace reflexes from Big TK.
Well, that's a man used to street racing, isn't it? So that for him is just another incident.
I tell you what, if you're in a fight and you have Tommy Kendall near you, make sure you're stood behind him.
And that was the number 2 Audi that was Duval who nearly picked up the...
Now, somebody asked me, how come it looks like some of the rear lights are flickering? Safety car back out again. Of course, to recover that body panel. Because a lot of them are LEDs, and I'm not sure whether the frequency at which an LED flashes in some way is affected by the 26 frames per second of cameras or not. I don't know whether that works on HD cameras. I don't think the lights actually flicker, but I think, you know that thing in Westerns where stagecoach wheels start to roll backwards because they're out of sync with the... Anyway, I don't know is the answer. I don't think they actually flicker, but I think the strobing effect is part of the camera effect.
So Tuesday night, Lotus wouldn't have been able to do this. They didn't have enough spares at the circuit to do
nobody
this.
took those. They wouldn't have been able to throw steering wheels at the car, but they, you know, apart from Michael Schumacher in Spain, that's not often a problem, is it?
If you're just joining us, the Lotus factory team, I call it, they did have a legal problem, and some of their parts were taken by a French court. They were given back the following day, and they all remain sub judice now, so we're not going to comment any more on it, as Benoit Trullier continues to lead the race, which again has gone under the safety car. So this group of cars, Damien, they'll see the safety car signs as they come across the track, but they were still racing until that moment.
Yeah, and I guess they're just going to be, you know, concerned with tyre temperatures, I think, now. So be braking
again,
and we're going to be taking a break and be back to you in a few moments.
Le Britannique n'a que 3 secondes 07 d'avance sur l'Allemand Lucas Moore, également quelque part pour le American Series. Il faut aussi rappeler que les American Series, c'est bien de l'avoir fait par ce 24
Welcome back to Eurosport Live here at Le Mans, just starting to get a little bit towards dusk. It's now 8:30 at night. We've got 18.5 hours still to go, Damon. Not going to work out how many Grand Prix that is, but we certainly had Grand Prix pace, don't we, until we keep getting these interruptions. Third safety car of the race. We had 7 red flags in practice and qualifying. Bit disjointed this year.
Yeah, well, invariably that's what happens in this type of racing when you have multiple categories and cars at slower speeds, different speeds from each other, and huge closing speeds, and etc., etc. But we have, you know, 18.5 hours of a sprint race left, really, because nowadays the whole race